Okay, this is the first part of review number one. I guess it should say number one here. And this may be this review number one. Video may be in two parts. So let's see how far we go before the bell rings. Okay, so we've got this triangle here, and we've got this information. It's already labeled on the picture. We're trying to find AC. So since we're trying to find AC, that's this side here, and it's across from this angle here. So we've noticed we've got the two sides here, the 7 and the 9. So this here is called the included angle. Because it's between the two sides that we're working with that we know the answers for. So since this is capital B, I'm going to write baby B, which is across from here. So since I've got the included angle, I'm going to be using the law of cosine. Now we're trying to find the side length, so we're going to use this formula here, and we're trying to find the C, and we've got the angle here. And then the 7 and the 9 are our A's and our B's. Okay, so writing this formula out, I'm going to say so it's actually the letter B, isn't it, right? So B squared equals 9 squared plus 7 squared minus 2 times 7 times 9 cosine 120. So as I was saying before, the 7 and the 9 are the two angles, two sides on either side of the included angle. Okay, so it doesn't matter which one goes first. 7 times 9 is the same thing as 9 times 7. Okay, and so same thing here. Okay, so don't think of it as ABC because that'll throw you off. Think of it as this is the side farthest across from this angle that we're working with. Okay, you might need to rewind to hear that again. So anyways, I simplify this. This is 81 plus 49 minus 126 cosine of 120. Now, this part is a little bit tricky. Cosine of 120 is going to give you an obtuse angle. Cosine 120. Oh, let's make sure I'm in the right mode. Good, this calculator is in degree mode. Okay, so cosine of 120 is going to give me a negative value. Now that happens whenever the angle is obtuse. So because this is obtuse, we're going to have a negative value. So now we're going to have, okay, so 81 and 49 is 130. And 126 times cosine of 120 is going to give me negative 63, because cosine of 120 gives us negative 0.5 times 126 gives us negative 63. So then so that's going to become plus. So 130 plus 63 is going to give us 193. So the final step is to find B. We have to do the square root of 193, and so B is approximately equal to 13.9. Okay, very important that you practice typing this into your calculator, because you don't want the first time to do it is on the test, and you don't want to make the mistake the first time without practicing this. Okay, find angle BAC. BAC. So because A is in the middle, we're trying to find angle. So I'm going to redraw this triangle just to help me figure this out. BAC. So we're trying to find this angle here. We know this is 9. We know this is 7. Now we know this is 13.9, and we know this is 120. You could use law of cosine, but I would rather use law of sine here. Um, let's see, BAC. Okay, so if I use law of sine, I've got angle A and this, and I've also got 120 this. Okay, so I can write 9 over sine A equals 13.9 over sine 120. Okay, so then I can cross multiply and I get 13.9 sine A equals 9 times sine 120. And then I could divide both sides by 13.9. And then I get, so 9 times sine 120 is going to give me 7.7942. That's good enough. And divided by 13.9. And then I get that I'm going to get sine A equals 0.5607. 0.5607. So now I need to do the inverse sign. So we write that with this little -1 power thing to give me angle A. And so to do that on my calculator, I have to push the second button and then sign and then the number. So right now I'm going to push second, and then I push sine, and notice it has the sign with the little -1 power thing there. And then I could type in this number, but the easiest thing to do is if I push second and this little negative button here, then it's going to say it's the previous answer. It just writes A and S. So it's going to put the previous answer, and I'm going to hit enter, and now I know my angle is 34.1 degrees. So angle A is 34.1 degrees. Okay. On my answer key in the picture, I did it a slightly different way, but same process. Okay, so now let's do the next question here. So we've got the radius of the circle is 3.9. So the length of that is 3.9. And since it's a circle, this is also 3.9, right? So let's just write that down, 3.9. Okay. Points A and B lie on the circle, and this is 103 degrees. Find the length of AB. Okay. So I'm going to put an X here. We're trying to find this length here. Okay, so if you think of it this way, we've got this triangle, 3.9, 3.9, 103. And this is just like the previous problem where we've got the included angle and two sides on the other side, and we're trying to find the far side. So it's exactly the same thing. So we're going to use this formula here. And it's nice that this is not, oh, I guess it is labeled ABC. Okay. So So we're going to write the missing side squared is equal to 3.9 squared plus 3.9 squared minus 2 times 3.9 times 3.9 cosine 103. Okay, so I'm just using this formula here and cosine 103. Okay, so then I can type this into my calculator and I get 15.21 plus 15.21 minus 30.42 cosine 103. And so now I'm going to, so 15.21 plus 15.21 is going to give me 30.42. And then cosine 103. So we have 30.42 times cosine 103, and because this cosine is obtuse, it's greater than 90, we're going to get a negative answer. So then I hit enter, and I'm going to get negative 6.843. So negative 6.843. And so because we have minus a negative number, that's going to become plus. So I have 30.42 plus 6.843. Remember, this is the side squared, so we're going to eventually take the square root. Add these together, we get 37.263 if I add those together. And so then I take the square root of 37.263. Some people were asking about how do I do square root on the calculator. So I have to push the second button, and then see how where the square, it's got in blue the square root symbol right there. So I push the square root symbol, and now I've got the square root. So what did I do? I pushed second and the square button, and in blue you can see that it's square root. So now I type in 37.263, and the square root of that is 6.1. 6.104. So three significant figures. This is going to be 6.10. Okay. Now we need to find the area shaded. So what I would do is I would find the area of the circle. So the area shaded is equal to the area of the circle minus the area of the sector. That's this clear one here. So the area of the circle is pi r squared, and the area of the sector is this fraction 103 over 360 times pi r squared. So I didn't memorize this formula. We just know the area of a sector is right here, where theta is the measurement of the degrees we've got, r is the radius, and the degrees over 360 gives us our fraction of the circle. So we've got this fraction of the circle here. Okay, the radius is 3.9. So 3.9 squared times pi minus this fraction times pi over 3.9 squared. Okay, some students were telling me they didn't know how to get the pi on the calculator. So So what I do is, so here I have 3.9 squared, and then times pi. So to get pi, notice here in blue, I've got the pi symbol. So I have to push second and then this button right here, and that's going to give me the pi. And then I simply press enter. And then it tells me that 3.9 squared times pi is 47.78. So I'm going to write that down. So 47.78. Okay, and then the same process, I'm going to show you a trick right here. If I push second enter, it's going to give me that entry that we just typed in. And I also want to multiply that times 103 divided by 360. So I'm going to push second delete. Notice how it says INS. So second delete. And now I'm going to insert 103 divided by 360 times. So here I have 103 divided by 360 times 3.9 squared times pi. Okay, or I could just retype this whole thing in, that's fine. And then I get this value here is 13.67. 13.67. And then, so I subtract those together, and then I get my shaded area is 34.1 centimeters squared. Okay, well, there's page 1, and the bell just rang. So the other videos will be in another part for the next page.